Thanks for being on here, Ice.
Oh man, thank y'all for having me, man. Gosh.
Yo.
Filming? Is this now? Are we
This
in?
is we're in the Matrix. Ice, welcome to the Matrix.
Wow.
Welcome to the Matrix. Otherwise,
Let me get started, man. Let me just give y'all's flowers while I can, man, because y'all are definitely an asset to any comedy community you touch. Both you and Alan and producer Pat.
Well,
Project Pat, as I like to call him. All three of y'all, I should say. I feel like I call Project Pat sometimes, and he doesn't even get the reference. He thinks he gets the projects. And I feel like he's like, yeah, I do work hard.
Property box. Well, we appreciate that, man. And we appreciate you being on the episode of Proper Bonics with Kirk and Alan. Oh my goodness.
I tell you, every time I see him, man, he did a show at Black Box in Lidditz on stage in the middle of his set. And he called me. I was like 4 or 5 rows back. And he saw me in the middle of a joke. He said, "What's up, Ice?" I said, "Wow. That guy's a professional."
I remember that. I was going through the crowd. I was like, "Oh shit, I go Ice." And, I didn't expect to see you there. Like it was like all white people, and it seemed Ice in the middle.
Can I tell you one more story?
Yeah.
So Kirk did an amazing show at Steel Stacks last year around this time called Out of Towners. Right? Star-studded roster. One of the people on the roster is a lovely lady, talented lady named Daphne London. Okay, so Kirk puts the flyers out to everybody to pass around, circulate on your social medias or whatever. I send it out to my friends. One of my boys, Q, immediately smitten with Daphne London. Okay, so I'm hanging out with him one day. Now, keep in mind this: on the flyer, she's wearing an orange tank top, or I'm sorry, orange turtleneck. Turtleneck. So we're sitting around one day. He says, "Yo, you should tell Daphne she looks like Daphne from Scooby-Doo. That'd be a good way to break the ice." I said, "That's not that's not what's going to happen." But for the sake of this conversation, I just want to let you know that Daphne doesn't wear the orange turtleneck. That's Velma. So if anything, she looks like Velma from Scooby-Doo.
Oh, that's right.
Hits his blunt, and he says, "I know that, and you know that. But she doesn't know we know that." She looks like Daphne from Scooby-Doo. There's nothing that turns a woman on more than the opportunity to tell a man that he's wrong. I said, "This dude is." That's like, what are you smoking? What do you have in that blunt? Did you figure out women?
3-dimensional interpersonal communication right there.
No,
that's foresight.
Turns out he just had a crack in the blunt. So
I hope he wasn't sharing that blunt with him.
Man, we've been trying. You've been our white whale. We've been trying to get you on for a minute. Like you've been we have like a guest list of people that we want to have, sort of thing. And you're on there, man. So like you're up there. This is like when Mark Maron interviewed Lauren Michaels. It's happening. So thank you, Michaels. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's heavy praise. You got Ice been and Lauren Michaels at a Central PA comedy scene.
I'm just trying to keep up, man. I'm trying to keep up with some all-stars, you know.
Well, I would say you keep up more than most. I would say, man. Like your style of comedy, you're very much one of those people where it's like when you're up there, just your presence in itself is entertaining, and you also have like the writing and backing and performance elements like get that going. So we always appreciate you seeing it on stage. And the idea of like being in central Pennsylvania, I know that's not necessarily your origins, right? Like, are you originally from, is it Florida?
Florida, Tallahassee, Florida, yeah. I started, work kind of put me up here in this space when I got the bug, the comedy bug, so to speak. So I started late doing stand-up. I didn't even start doing stand-up until December 2015. December of this year will be 8 years. So I was probably 35, 36 when I even started, man. But I started in Reading Comedy Outlet. That's where I met a lot of y'all at, and just kind of took the baton and ran with it.
Yeah, you started 2 months after me.
Okay.
2 months after me. And one thing that I will say that you different from me, a lot of other people that was like every open mic you went to, you always had like a different set.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that was one that was like, yo, he be writing. Like you really write. You know what I mean? And I noticed that you got like a good following on Twitter. So is that where your writing came from? Just like tweeting? Because you tweet a lot.
My writing, I mean, without trying to get too long-winded, it's analogous to kind of my previous entertainment forays. So prior to doing stand-up, when I was in my 20s, when a lot of people were starting to do stand-up, I was trying to get a record deal. I was rapping. So all the metaphors and similes and analogies and stuff kind of transferred to the comedy world pretty smoothly. So that's where the writing, I guess, style comes from, and just the pace that I write with, the amount that I write. I constantly write.
I could tell. See, we always like on this show. Me and Kirk, we displayed our bars plenty of times on this show. We be rapping, so we know that every black guy has at least 16 bars ready to go at any moment. So I know you got albums ready to go at a drop of a dime.
Oh man, God! Years ago, I had volumes when I was really hungry and active. Now, it's like you said, everybody got one or two.
Alan and I, we have 16s. Ice, you may have 48s.
Not to actually have just recently, I don't know, caught the bug again. I think I talked myself up to it. I started kind of digging into my past for more material. Started talking about music back in the day, and it kind of just did something to me. So I was like, let me go write a couple songs and maybe take another foray back into it.
Now, what would you say before getting into comedy to be as a rapper? What kind of got you into that? Like, what gravitated you towards a rapper? And like, also, is that where Ice comes from?
So, absolutely. I was born in '79. Rapper's Delight came out in '79. I feel like my whole life, hip hop has been a commercially viable entity. So it never felt like it was a foreign thing to me. We kind of grew up together almost, you know what I mean? So it's very second nature to me. I remember seeing LL Cool J, the I'm Bad video for the first time and thinking to myself, this is transcendent. This dude is like a action movie star. You know what I mean? That's what really captivated me and made me want to write and be impactful and perform like that. But I mean, like Run DMC, LL, Beastie Boys, all that early Def Jam stuff, that's the stuff that kind of caught my eye. And then when it branched out to Southern artists and West Coast artists, and I saw other people could do it, be successful, that's really what made me solidify me as an MC.
To make that jump, I feel like there's a lot of people that are able to like admire hip hop and like listen to it and have like their favorites, which we're gonna get to. But like, what made to get that jump of like, oh, this is something that like I'm going to do? Like, you recognize like it's a viable option. But were you always kind of like an artistic person?
I was always pretty good with words, writing. I like to say there was a time in my life where I felt like I was a rapper at my heart and soul.
Well,
and then I started doing stand up, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm a comedian in my heart, and I have a rapper skill set, and that's why it was being translated the way it was. Now I think ultimately, in my heart, I'm just a writer.
Yeah,
a writer. I have probably the mind of a comedian and the skill set of a rapper, and that's where it all comes together.
Well, who knows what Spencer's going to be?
Yeah, I can see more like a one-man show, like a, you know what I mean, like a singing, like Lil Duval. You know, he does comedy.
They're crazy, and hey, he got certifiable hits. Shout out Duval, from Florida, so
exactly.
Yeah.
So you could be what's that? Broward County? Is it Tallahassee? I don't know. Is that what county that is? Tallahassee?
County is like Fort Lauderdale. That's South Florida.
So
Tallahassee's Leon County.
Okay, yeah, that could be a new comedy name, Lil Lehigh.
Yeah.
That's wild to have the name Ice and then change it to something wilder.
So you were saying where the name come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, like where's it stem from that? Like why Ice? Were you just like that one there? And I was like,
Ice came from when I was 15. I got the nickname Ice. I was living. I didn't grow up in Tallahassee. I'm an Army brat originally. I didn't move to Tallahassee until '97 to go to college, and I've lived there ever since. But all my family is from that area. My dad's side is from North Florida. My mom's side from Alabama, so it's home essentially, you know. But when I was 15, I was living on Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and we went to a spot in Clarksville called Lincoln Homes. Me and some of my friends, they went to go buy some weed, and we were driving back home, and they flicked the last little bit of the roach out the window before we turned through the gate to get back on post. And there was this thing we call a spread eagle out there, which is just a military police search, you know, kind of random search checkpoint. So my friends, I don't smoke. My friends were all high though, and they were panicking. So I was like, just let me talk. Everybody relax. And I did. I saw, you know, they pulled up, the dog searched the car. They were going crazy. I told them something like, yeah, we left the party. Everybody was smoking. We didn't do it though. Right. And we got in the car and we left. And when we did, my friends were like, yo, you got ice in your veins. But how you cool like that? And it just something about that stuck. So Ice is not like a nickname because I'm like cool or something like that. It's more like I'm just cool under pressure.
That's the same thing, Ice. It's not because I'm cool, it's just because I'm cool.
You have to be a certain level of cool to understand that level of cool, though. Regular cool.
But then when I, you know, at that point I wasn't really rapping like that. What happened is I had an art class with a kid we called Shaolin, and he was a rapper. He was known in the school as a rapper. Nice. So I was sitting with him in art class and like trying to exchange bars, and he could see I was like competition. So he would do my artwork. He was like a talented artist. He would do the art, whatever assignment we had in class, like that. And then we would just break out our notepads and just write bars the whole time. And I went and recorded a song with him, and he was like, yeah, what's your name? And I said, I don't know. You know, everybody calls me Ice. And he said, well, I'm going to call you Dry Ice then. So that was my rap name, Dry Ice.
Dry Ice?
Yeah. Because I'm cool, but I don't know if you've ever touched dry ice. If you touch it, it's like a hot sensation.
It's hot.
So it's like, yeah, I'm cool, but if you touch me, it gets hot for you. You know what I mean? I was like, that's the stupidest name ever. I'm in. I love it.
That's a good rap name. I'm not going to lie. It got meaning to it. Yeah.
It's a good rap name, but also like a good mafia name. Ice, but the dry type. Dry Ice.
Yeah.
Gotta put a hit out. Somebody called Dry Ice over here immediately.
Alan, did you ever have like a notable nickname?
So my name because my name is Alan Massenberg, like growing up, everybody just called me Mass. Like that's just
Mass.
That's just what they all like to this day. Like my homies like, yo, Mass, that's what they call me.
Really? They see you like in a lab coat sort of thing and decide to do that, or was it just like a strictly shortening of your name?
It's because I may walk lightly, but I speak heavy, like Mass. I don't know.
I like it.
I made that up.
Mass. Damn, I've never thought to even call you that. I may have to start switching it up. Bruce Pat suggested he's going to start calling you Enberg.
No, it's funny. It's funny that producer Pat says that because like a couple of white boys from my high school, that's what they call me. Like they call me Enberg.
Enberg sounds too close to N-word. I don't like it. It sounds way. I don't like it.
That's probably why they said it.
What about you, Kirk? What is the name you used to walk around with, man?
Oh man, some people already know this, and if they don't, they're about to find out. I was Rosebuddy Johnson. I was a big fan of the movie Citizen Kane. Shout out to Orson Welles. And I don't want to spoil the movie. I won't do that. But Rosebud is a pivotal part of that movie, and finding out the significance of the word Rosebud. It's his dying word. And then I started rapping on the IMDb message boards, like typing it out, and my username was Rosebud. And then from there, when I started recording, I just went by Rosebud.
I had no idea you had bars, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while. Like I don't
What?
I don't write as much as I'd like to. I try to do a thing where like I write a 16 each year, but
Okay.
like yeah, that was we have similar paths in that way. Like my first like venture into like artistic expression was rapping.
Yeah.
Just rapping, then like making like songs for it, and then eventually it came into like more so like morning announcements in high school, and then
Okay.
and then yeah, then started doing comedy. I should have went by Rosebud. I should have kept it.
That's a cool name. I like that.
Yeah.
I think that the more you guys talk about your origin story, the more I think the black boy artist, like I think rap is just the first art we've all written.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Like I wouldn't think it's poetry. I think rap. Like we all have been writing raps from like early age. I think it's like a black boy thing. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know if it's like how like white kids are with like race cars, but yeah, I feel like that's a very much like how like when you're a black kid, it seemed like you mentioned this. It's like the viable option of like, oh yeah, this is what it's around, this sort of thing, and this is something that like we see a lot of older people doing and what we enjoy. Yeah, I know for me that's kind of like what resonated.
Yeah,
awesome.
For sure. Like today, my
here's something now. I get what you have to show. I got to hear something.
What's up,
Kirk? What's that one bar you be dropping? You know what I'm talking about.
That's I got multiple bars. What are you talking
no,
about?
No, it's not.
It's get it right, Nash. You know
I'll do a 2-bar. It's your boy Kirk, and I keeps it real. You never catch me slipping. Banana peel. That's a nice little light. That's a nice little light bar. That's LITE. That's a light one for everyone. That's awesome.
That's the one. That was one of the ones I was thinking of. The banana peel. I knew that was coming. Yeah, I know your raps.
So, you know all my raps. I got multiple raps. I don't know why I took offense to that. I'm like, I have more raps. But yeah, that's one that comes to mind. I feel like a wrap up wouldn't be conducive to a virtual setting where there's like audio. Next time all three of us in there, we're getting a cipher going.
Oh, the same.
Absolutely.
Now, Kurt, we're going from rap to R&B. Did you go to that Beyonce concert in Philly the other day,
bro?
Did you go to Renaissance?
Yeah, man. I was in the building. I was in the Beyonce building. Yeah, that's. So on Wednesday, Beyonce, she's doing a Renaissance tour, and she made her first stop in America. She's been doing worldwide, but she decided to come to America, and it was in Philadelphia. And for whatever reason, I was there.
How far in advance did you have to get those tickets?
So that's the thing. I found out about it a week before going. So shout out to the Dip, her coworker was like, hey, I have Beyonce tickets. I was going to go with my daughter, but I no longer want to go with my daughter. Do you want to go with my daughter? And then it was like, are you going to try to sell the tickets? And she's like, no, I'm just going to give away the tickets. So she had 2 tickets and she was like, do you want to go? And I was like, all right.
Okay.
So it was like, I had a week to prepare for Beyonce. I get my cowboy hats.
Right, Kurt, you were just getting it right.
I was working on my wrist movements Tuesday to Thursday.
I can see even some leather pants, Kirk. I can see that. Yeah.
Bro, the dressing was nuts on this one. So Renaissance, I don't know how familiar with the Renaissance Fair, but it's very much like her new style for this album is like kind of housey, kind of like how Drake's last album was, the Nevermind one. Yeah. Where it's kind of like electronica housey, but the dress clothing for it's very like metallic. It's like Gladiator meets sexy cowboy. It's very much like that, like assless chaps, but also like armor and swords. Like it was very much like that. I didn't get a sword, but I
dominatrix.
Kind of, yeah, like futuristic dominatrix sort of thing. And the visuals for it were just trippy. So we get there. And the show is advertised to start at 7:00. With traffic, we don't get there until 8:00, which is fine because Beyonce doesn't go up until 8:45. So we make it there and we're able to like see the entrance and all that. And people went as crazy as you'd imagine they'd go for a Beyonce concert. It was kind of wild to see.
You Beyonce fan, Ice?
Yeah, I mean, she's just one of those universal beloved figures, man. At this point, she has something for everybody at this point. Even if you weren't a fan of the kind of the more house oriented stuff, You just go back 2 or 3 albums to like Lemonade or something more contemporary R&B. She got something for everybody.
That sound like a member of the Beehive got a gun to your head right now. She got something for everybody.
Universally loved.
That's ridiculous. What are you talking about?
I got something for the house music. She's black.
I'm with you with that though, man. Like I'll say it, and Beehive, chill out. Beyonce's cool. Like Beyonce, she has a lot of hits. She's been around for most of my life.
Yeah,
so I'm not blasting her music left and right, sort of thing. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh, an opportunity to see her live. She probably puts on a pretty good show. And yeah, but for the people there that were like fans, or like they're singing along, everything, that was really cool to see. Of just like a whole stadium concert of everyone just singing along to like Lemonade. It was pretty cool.
Did you know like every song that played?
No, I would say I knew. So if there was like probably maybe like 20 songs, I knew maybe 12. Yeah, I'd say a fair amount. I was hoping she was gonna like bring Destiny's Child out. That's what I was rooting on. I was like, if they do the theme song to Proud Family, I'll lose my mind. That would be pretty cool. Or like if she brought, I knew it wasn't going to happen. So like they had dancers like pop out from underneath the floor like Rey Mysterio. So very much like they just jump out, and then it'd be like a bunch of like sexy twins that would like dance, do a bunch of like contour stuff and like contortionist elements to it. I was thinking, what if one of them happens to be Jay-Z? What if Jay-Z pops out from underneath the ground and jumps up? I didn't think he would, but that was the one that I was most anticipated for. Like if Jay-Z comes out right now, that's the one where I would be like, whoa, that would be bonkers.
Producer passes, does Jay-Z contort?
He's like, he just has a mask on and we don't know. It's like, it's just Jay-Z. It's just
I doubt Jay-Z could dance though. I feel like Jay-Z's always seen doing something that's normal people would do. He's always doing it awkwardly. You know what I mean? It's like on a jet ski, he looks awkward riding the jet ski. Like him diving is like Jay-Z can do the most difficult things, but he can't do something easy. Like he can cook crack, but he can't just swim.
He's an alien, man. He's learning. He's learning. He's adapting to human behavior.
He's still
I know that she was having her daughter was dancing in the shows. Did you see? Was her daughter there dancing?
The biggest pop of the night was when Blue Ivy came out. So like I went out to go get more burr, and then like I couldn't find the seats. It was a whole thing. I was stressed. And then like I'm looking for seats, and then like I hear everyone go, and I was like, why is everyone screaming? And then I look over and I see Blue Ivy, and then I start screaming. I'm like, oh, Blue Ivy. And then like that was the biggest pop at night. And she was dancing around. They had the camera on her, and every time it went to her, people just lost their mind. She was good too. She's a good dancer.
Crazy, man. That's crazy. All right, so what's the biggest concert you ever been to?
Austin City Limits 2013. I saw Stevie Wonder, CeeLo Green. It was amazing. I'm glad I saw Stevie Wonder because, Michael Jackson passed, and I just assumed, I'll be able to see him one day. Prince passed. I always just assumed I'll be able to see him one day. So I'm glad I've seen Stevie, and I have that memory. It was an amazing show. It was hot because it was Texas in October, but it was great. I would say that's the biggest one.
Yeah. I would love to see Stevie perform. That'd be amazing. He's like one of those last icons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Love to see that.
I'm a little shocked. Alan, I thought you were teeing up the whole C and Stevie Wonder thing. You didn't. Now I'm the one that has to do it. So now I feel ridiculous.
I'm sorry. I didn't see that one coming.
That's was it at a stadium? The show for Stevie Wonder and CeeLo Green?
It was Austin City Limits. It's like a music festival for 3-4 days, and it's kind of outdoors. It has 5 or 6 venues where acts perform at their designated times. It's music festival type stuff, like a Coachella or something like
that. If someone wants to become a millionaire, billionaire, they need to figure out a way to create a porta potty that's not disgusting just for music festivals, because music festivals bathroom situations are always the worst. You mean 4 to 5 days of people doing drugs and listening to music, drinking beer, and porta potties?
Yeah.
Man.
And that heat too.
Bro.
Yeah, it's the word. Yeah, it's like they save their worst bowel movements for the Porta John at the Music Festival. Coachella next week, I'm getting chili all week. Chili.
Chili and kale. Yeah. If you come up with like some way that you do like a clean green energy like bathroom, you'd be a billionaire.
Go into Stevie Wonder's room. That may be the cue. Just like go into like the musician's room and like use the bathroom there.
Yes.
For some reason, I just had a mental image of speaking of blind artists, Ray Charles frying chicken in the dark in the movie Ray.
Yeah.
You don't remember that? He was.
I'll take some chicken from a blonde man before I take chicken from a white woman. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's soul food, right? He cooking from his soul for real.
On TikTok, just pouring ingredients on a tabletop and mixing the shit with their bare hands.
I've seen that.
They're doing it on purpose, Ice. They're doing it so you will react this way. This is why. They want to mess with you. That's all. Don't let them get to you. Fight back.
Fight back in silence so they don't get the engagement points.
As soon as I see white hands on my timeline, I can report it as spam. As soon as I see white block.
I have a few of those. I feel like there's a few where it's like,
it is unsettling.
They have like it's like a trend where like they put, instead of a bowl, they'll use sink. Have you guys seen this at all? Where it's like it's just put it all into the sink, and from there, I'm like, okay, this is usually probably going to be something kind of gross. Typically is.
Have you seen them put it in the toilet yet?
I'm sure it's coming, but no, I did not see it. No.
It's came.
It's like a party punch in a bathtub. They plugged up the bathtub and poured all the vodka and fruit punch in it. Man,
that's some of the best alcohol you're ever gonna have right there. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh my goodness, man! I wanted to break you guys off with this, man. I'm curious both your takes on this. I know. Well, Ice, I don't know. Are you a UFC person at all?
I mean, I know the big names.
Okay.
Enough to know the big event is happening. I can't say I'm super deep into it.
That's the same way you describe Beyonce.
Very diplomatic.
Like, come on, UFC is all right. I mean, there's some,
something for everybody.
Something for the kids, something for the wife.
Everybody has a favorite fighter.
That's Conor Rousey. Well, this is a universal discussion happening in UFC right now. So UFC 290 just took place last week, and without going too much into it, there's a bit of a racial tension within the UFC combat sports. Pat, if you could play the racial tension in combat sports music. All right, so we got the middleweight division, Israel Adesanya versus contender Drake Dupreez. All right, so backstory with these guys. Israel, he's Nigerian, but he was raised in New Zealand. Drake Dupreez, born, raised in South Africa, white guy. So they're kind of like going in this back and forth where Drake Dupreez, he's kind of insinuating like, if I become the champion, I will be the first real African champion. White guy. And then Israel Adesanya, who is the champion, who has always repped Nigeria, but is from New Zealand, took notes of this and is saying, like, how dare you? How dare you? If we took a DNA test, my origins would show that I'm Africa. If you took a DNA test, it would show where you're really from. Right. Dutch. And then, like, Drake Dupreez ends up pulling off the victory, UFC 290. It's a whole thing. Not against Israel. Not against Israel. That means he's going to fight Israel now.
Oh, right.
Israel gets in the cage, and it's a whole thing where they're talking about just like Africa origins and all that stuff. It's a real geography class in the cage right now. And this is one of the first times in UFC, at least on this level, where we're seeing an element of race being brought into a globally recognized stage.
Yeah.
The idea of like a white dude saying, I'm the real African, and the black dude who's from Africa but lives in New Zealand do we see that in any sort of contention? Is it wrong for a white African to suggest that he is a real African for living in Africa against someone that is a black African?
Yes, it's very wrong.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, you can't colonize a place and then act like you came from that place.
That's what people are saying.
Coming to your house right now, Kirk, and being like, Kirk, I'm the real owner of this property.
We want some. Please don't.
You're like, I'm paying rent here. I'm put the sweat equity into owning this place. You can't just because you're sitting on the couch. Put your feet up.
It's like, no, Kirk, get out. I want these spices. Get out.
Get out.
You know what I mean? So I agree with you, Ice. I agree with you. Like you can't do that. You can't go into my house and be like, well, I'm the first champion that ever lived here. It's like, no, bro. Like you can't do that.
This is bringing a lot. I don't know if like how much of this is being outside of the UFC world. Like I'm a fan, so like I know a bit. But have you guys heard anything about this at all?
I saw the confrontation in the cage.
Yeah.
Adesanya's like, I guess he's insinuating, or not actually insinuating, saying that he can say nigga.
Yeah.
And the white dude can't.
Drake's Dupree's, he didn't really have a comeback for that because Adesanya said it like 20 times. And Drake is like,
yeah.
I think the line that he says like, I'm from Africa, but I'm not your brother, son. So that was like his comeback for it, which I was like, oh, that's a good workaround. All right, that's not terrible.
Nah, he should have just said it and got it over with. He says it at home anyway. Just come on, just say
it. Have either of you gotten an ancestry DNA test?
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Yeah, so like I've gotten one. Alan, did you finish yours or no?
All right, look, so I have it at my house, and I haven't did it yet because I don't want to do it wrong. So I'm just like reading all the instructions because I didn't pay for it, so it was like a gift. So I don't want to have to buy. I want to have to buy one. So I was like, let me read all the instructions. So I've been lollygagging. I'm gonna do it. I'm afraid I'm gonna come back more white. So I'm just taking my time.
I did mine. Surprise, I'm black as shit. Surprise, shocker. You know, my test came back with the coupon to Popeyes and the letter that said, "Really, nigga, what are you wasting our time?"
Yeah, goodness.
For it's 25% Nigerian, 25% Malian, Cameroonian. Breaks down into like smaller percentages of white, but that's when I'm like in the high 80%.
Oh, do you have any Sweden in you?
I have Finnish in me, believe it or not. The highest percentage of white blood I have in me is 3% Finnish, which is so white. You know, I'm only 3% Finnish. I'm like 50% white. That's how that breaks down.
Bro, you can't say I have Finnish in me. Yeah, that sounds crazy. Yo, you gotta pause that, bro.
Is there a project that pause?
Well, we sometimes do post edits. We'll have to consider that one.
You might as well say he came in me.
I translated it as having a 3% finish rate. That's what I've heard it as. But
just my mind went there. It's me.
I'm 25% Malian. A lot of people don't know where Mali is, but they've heard of Timbuktu, which is a city that was known for its library. That's why everybody knows the city Timbuktu.
I didn't know. I know it from like the little diddly at Timbuktu, but I didn't know there was like a library.
So when we're kids, we always talk about having like Mandingo blood, like warrior blood. You know what I mean? Come to find out, I'm 25% Malian. I'm basically a librarian. That's what it is. I have the blood of a librarian coursing through my veins.
Some people have the blood of a warrior. Some have the blood of the Dewey Decimal System. That's what
my ancestors were like, whatever you do, do not let them take the encyclopedias. The reference materials are not to leave the library.
And Alan is back. Alan is back in the building.
I bet I had to get a package. Somebody's banging on the door. I had to get a package.
But with that, Matt, you got the Amazon Prime there and all that. Yeah, got those there. something we like to do on here on Proper Bonics is we like to let people know what we're recommending, things that we suggest, something that we want the streets to do if they choose to. With that, we're going to get into some prop suggestions. My prop suggestion for this one is going to be a comedy special. Recently watched Tom Segura's Sledgehammer on Netflix. It's pretty good. I would recommend it. It was one where like I discovered Tom Segura like maybe like a year ago, just like kind of like just happened to pass by on like a Netflix thing, and yeah, I feel like he's one of those comics that like I just wasn't really brought awareness to, but then like since watching his stuff, it's been pretty solid, and this new one is like an addition to that. So for those looking for a comedy special out there, Tom Segura Sledgehammer.
And also, I know Kevin Hart dropped a special too, like a week ago.
Where is this special? I feel like I heard someone mention it.
Peacock. Yeah. I know he has his interview show on Peacock already. So I guess he figured Heart to Heart. Yeah, that's on Peacock already. So he figured just put a special over there too. You know what I mean? Like, it makes sense to me. So you check out Tom Segura and Kevin Hart specials. You know what I mean? So check them out. So my power suggestion is I want to suggest that since we were talking about every black boy has written a rap. I feel like every black boy at some point in his life should get a haircut in Philadelphia. Okay, I don't think I was aware of how great Philadelphia barbers were until I moved and started getting haircuts elsewhere. Yeah, recently I went to a barber shop in New York and they messed up my hairline. I was not happy with it. And I was sad. You know what I mean? So I think that every black boy, before you leave the face of this earth, you should go to Philadelphia and get a haircut and change your life. It's a great experience. I didn't realize how great I had it. Now I regret ever moving. That's my suggestion.
Don't take advantage of like your health or sort of thing. Like don't when you have good health, you don't recognize it until you have bad health, sort of thing. It sounds like you had a similar situation with your hairline, though.
And I knew the barbers are good, but I was like, New York should have good barbers, but I realized New York doesn't have good barbers either. And if you're from New York, listen to this. Move, go get a haircut somewhere else.
Who cut it though? Like the demographic.
So look, bro, like it blew my mind. It was a black guy. Like it was like a black boy. He was like in his 40s, and I was like, "Are you a black dude? You in your 40s? You been cut for a while." You know what I mean? And he just couldn't follow directions. Like I was like, "Yo, just do this." Like he like cut my one side of my beard down, and I told him not to. And then he was like not gonna fix it. I was like, "You can't just have me out here one side." Like, yeah, bro.
Have you walking uneven? That's gonna hurt your back.
I already got these big boobs.
Was he a student? Was it like one of those like school ones?
He was the owner of the shop, Kirk.
Oh my gosh! All right, that's a little. It seems intentional at this point. It feels addictive.
I was at a barbershop, and this is how I know I have big lips. I was at a barbershop once, and they went to go put the napkin around my neck. So the barber takes the napkin and puts it in front of my face, and it catches my lip, and it breaks. I was like, "How's that possible? Are you telling me my lips poke out further than my nose does? What type of shit is that?"
You got the Bubba Gump lips.
Yeah, I'm super self-conscious when I go to the barber. I'm like tucking my lips in, like the time I get my hair cut. But I want to participate in the conversations, so I sound like I'm like, like I'm handicapped. I'm like, the Brian gang got a good shot. You like that? They're gonna want to jump there. Everybody thinks that's a brave guy. He comes in and gets his hair cut. They independently.
I think you ain't got no teeth. No teeth ice.
All of their ice in the barbershop as well. I'll hop on to this suggestion and say that if you're in New York, consider a Dominican barber. Dominican barbers, they're usually, that's a move. It can be a lady Dominican barber. They'll especially if you're in the Bronx, Dominicans are the move when it comes to getting your haircut.
Bro. They always those Spanish and Latin. They always want they want to line your eyebrow. Don't touch my eyebrows, bro.
Maybe you give them the signal not to. Like they'll give you the 3 cuts in the eye sort of thing. It could look kind of cool, but you don't have to do that part. There's sometimes
I want to be pretty.
Yeah, being pretty is kind of nice.
Want to be a
Get your
thug.
nails and everything.
Yeah, no. So yeah, do you have anything to suggest to the people here at ICE?
Since we were speaking about music earlier, there's an app called BandLab. I highly suggest. And I'm gonna just say it like this: all of the older artists out there who are fighting and protesting, not just the music, but also the technology to create it now, just cave in and get it, man. A game changer. I fought in protest. I was like, yeah, I need to go to the studio. I need like a headphone and a mic with a pop filter and a condenser. I need to go every time I drop a verse. This thing, man, you can use your phone. It's got loops. It's got all types of samples. You can upload samples. You can produce on your phone. Plug in your earphones and with the mic and record your verse right into the mic on the train going somewhere. You know,
So it's just a studio on your phone.
it's just a studio on your phone, and then you can collaborate with other artists. That easy. You can like open source your song. Give somebody a link to it, and they can jump in and give input, add production, lyrics, ad libs, whatever. I fought and protested. What happened? The way I found out is somebody asked me for a verse, and I was like, "Well, I'll be back in Tallahassee in a month." And they're like, "Man, just BandLab it to me." What are you talking about? It's like, what do you mean you'll be back? What are you talking about? That doesn't even make sense in our world.
Right.
Download the app, and I fought kicking and screaming, and I downloaded it, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is revolutionary, man!"
Really?
BandLab.
Is it essentially like is there any parallels to like it being like artificial intelligence in terms of like the sampling, or is it just a really good program where you're able to record on it?
Yeah, it's a good program you're able to record and produce on. They just have a bunch of loops because everybody's contributing. I'm pretty sure that BandLab itself has a lot of proprietary material that you can source, but it's all like royalty free. And I told one of my boys about it. He sent me a open source link in 20 minutes with a beat. It was insane.
You about to have Kirk out here sending features.
I'm telling you, BandLab, Kirk.
I don't know. I like the sound of this, man. I remember before it was like you had to download like Audacity. Like that was the program that you had to use for like whenever you were like doing raps like at home if you didn't have a studio and all that. And if you had a friend that had like it was a feature called like Fruity Loops, they could do loops and such. But if there's like an app where it just kind of does it all in that, and like you're able to like contribute with other people, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Central Pennsylvania comedy scene, get ready because you're hyping us up right now. I will. What do we think about this? The idea of like, yeah, there's open mics, jokes, and all that stuff. What about invading an open mic and just rapping? What would people really do? Would they oppose? Would they applaud? Would they flash us? What would they do?
I invaded a rap open mic to perform comedy before.
How'd that go?
It was amazing because I was funny. They had no idea. They was like, give it up for Alan Massenberg. Hey, yo. Check. I'm a dad. I got 2 kids. But if they came to our mics, I don't know what I would do.
I feel like there's.
I've been to a mixed mic that was heavily, comedian. It leaned heavily towards comedians, and then 1 or 2 people got up and did music. Yeah. It went okay. I mean, comedians we're not antagonistic people, only to each other. Right. We antagonize the shit out of each other, but
to outsiders, we bring them with open arms.
Yeah.
Now, so that was the proper suggestions. You know who a lot of suggestions out here nowadays, Kirk?
A lot of suggestions here, man.
Jonah Hill is giving a ton of suggestions.
He's getting some boundary suggestions. That's what I'm hearing. That's what the streets are saying. Suggestion, therapy talk.
Is it boundaries that he's giving, or is it just controlling suggestions that he's giving?
Well, that's the discussion. That's the discussion. So I don't know if you saw this as well. So Jonah Hill, he's in the news. An ex-girlfriend of his has posted screenshots of conversations that they had maybe a year or 2 prior at the end of their relationship, in which Jonah Hill had sent her messages with some of his contentions in the relationship. And one of the notable ones was just saying that like he's pretty much like, hey, these are my boundaries. And if you are not comfortable with it, then that's your choice. But I want to voice how I feel. And the topic is more so now like what is boundaries and what really constitutes that, because the messages he was suggesting is like she's a surfer. He was not comfortable with her posting photos of her surfing in a bikini. I think there's messages of her surfing with other men. A lot of them were actions on her end. So when you think boundaries, it's like, okay, well, this is something like I'm not comfortable touching your thigh in public. That's something on your end, sort of thing. That's a boundary for yourself.
Right.
Versus this one, it's more so imposing on the other person, like I'm not comfortable with you calling your dad after 7 o'clock.
Right.
So like, is that a boundary or is that a control? And that's been the discussion between people left and right of like, was he in the right or was he in the wrong? And it seems like for the most part, people are kind of not too crazy about the attitude that Jonah Hill had.
I don't. Anybody can have, like you said, boundaries, expectations, no matter how absurd they are. I think long as they're communicated effectively and honestly, you are within your right to have those. Perhaps they are short-sighted, even completely wrong. But if you give the person that you're engaging with the opportunity to walk away, and they're, you know, an able-bodied, competent person, there's no manipulation going on, then let him go. That should be the punishment. Let him go, and he's going to have to learn his lesson. After he starts letting 20 women go, sooner or later he's going to ask himself, what's the issue with me? How can I correct this so I can keep somebody in my life if that's really the issue? You know?
Very well.
So if he wasn't trying to let her out of the relationship and forcing her into these type of things, then I think it would be another issue at hand. I think social media is so black and white sometimes because people want to have a talking point and be visible and basically usurp the most visible platform to garner views for themselves. These type of discussions get out of control, and there's no like nuance involved to have these discussions.
So you're saying it's all her fault?
I'm saying immediately, let her go, cancel her.
No, look, I think that look, if once you read these, and then you be like, okay, like I'm out. I can't help you.
Yeah.
Can't help you. Once you agree to these, John, he is ridiculous. He's controlling. He's manipulative. All of those things. But once you say, okay, I can't do nothing for you.
What to do? Right.
I think I guess what you mentioned, the idea of like some of those things can be short-sighted, some of them can be wrong, depending on what constitutes wrong or not. But like the idea of like, I think it's okay to communicate your thoughts. I think that's the big thing. Like, you communicate your thoughts, and then if it happens to be on the controlling side, or if it's perceived on the controlling side, that person on the other end of it can determine like, okay, well, this doesn't really work for me. I think it's easier said than done. I think it's when you're in a relationship like that and that intimate in a situation, it can be kind of harder to like kind of that detach in that way of like, okay, well, I kind of want to see what works and what doesn't work. And it's a bit harder to remove yourself. But ultimately, I think that's the big thing. If you're open with what you want, that's not a bad thing. I don't think he's necessarily a monster for doing this. It's not the most attractive thing. And I could see why it's just not appealing to be in a relationship with someone that wants those sort of like rules. But I also don't think that it makes him like a horrendous person for voicing something that he's not comfortable with. It's just a matter now of like kind of maybe he needs to get to a point where he's more comfortable with the person being an individual and not necessarily just an attachment opinion.
Yeah.
He's extremely insecure. He's extremely insecure.
Yeah, that's what I got from those. It was like a lot of insecurity. And that was another talking point from just a lot of this discussion of just like a lot of the terms that he was using. We'll see this a lot on social media. It's just very much like therapy talk is what they phrase it as, of like maybe overuse of like boundaries, the word boundaries, or overuse of the word trauma, and maybe like triggers and such. And sometimes it could feel like an oversaturation of those, where it's it kind of dilutes the meaning and significance of those terms when it's just kind of being thrown around left and right. And
but I think everybody on social media does that nowadays anyway. I can't get on Twitter without hearing somebody talk about therapy or down trauma
triggers.
Yeah, that's the words that we never used like that until 5 years ago, and now they're all over the place.
Yeah, no, I think one thing that's important too is that I said that if he said these are my terms, and then she's like agrees on this one thing, I think it's important to know when he dropped these terms. So it's like if they've been messing around for a few months, and she's already hooked, you know what I mean, and they already got a thing for each other, and then you're like, that's hard to walk away. But if this was some first date type situation, you know what I mean, then you can walk away. But like if he dropped it after some time, that's messed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you guys think about the idea of releasing the screenshots? So I think they broke up maybe like 2 years ago or something like that. And then she noted that I guess she was tired of people coming up to her and saying like, "Yo, Jonah Hill, he's the best person ever." And then she was like, "I'm sick of it. So I'm going to release these so people know my disposition towards my ex." How do you feel about the idea of releasing conversations from a relationship out into the public?
I could never do it personally. I think I don't know. I think the sanctity of the relationship, that might be too egregious of a word to describe the point I'm trying to make. But above everything, a little privacy, a little trust.
Yeah.
I value that, right up there with like respect and just being valued. I couldn't do it personally, unless it was somebody being physically abused or something like that, and I had to prove that, then perhaps. But
yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, and also I don't buy the people kept coming up to me thing. I don't even know her name. Who people kept coming up to you, telling you that Jonah Hill was such a great guy? Who are these weirdos coming up to you saying Jonah? What? No, you want some clout, bro. You want some clout 2 years later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, man.
I feel like there's definitely that element to it. I don't know the person like that, and I don't know exactly the situation, but I'm with you with that ice of like, when it comes to like if there is some sort of like violence or something kind of wild or other allegations, I get the reasoning behind it. But when it comes to just like it wasn't the best chemistry in a relationship,
right?
It kind of takes away. I've been in relationships like that where it's like it feels like there's been a hit in the intimacy from like them sharing things that were just between us. And it wasn't even bad things. It was just things of like, oh yeah, you and I talked about, and we have this conversation that's candid. And then it's like, it feels like if you're going to share that, it kind of takes away from some of the intimacy. And I feel like that goes for after a relationship as well, where it's like, it's not a move that I would feel comfortable with either.
Right.
Are y'all deleting those pictures out your phone after you break up with somebody?
Like pictures of just in general.
You know what pictures I'm talking about. Ice, you deleting those pictures?
I'm not. I gotta be honest with you. I'm not deleting pictures, but I'm not sharing them with anybody either. Right. That's just like an old football player. You know what I'm saying? That's all that is for me.
I once had a request from someone of like they're like, can you delete the photos? And I was like, all right, like explicitly like asking sort of thing. This particular person though, it was such like a contentious situation. It was the same thing where like the same person that I just mentioned with the whole intimacy thing, where like damn, I don't even know if I should be saying this. So I just realized they may be listening to this. So, but it was the type of situation where like there was like such a never mind. Can't specialize. I just realized this person's like may or may not be in the building, and even if they're not, it's like then it's like, oh no, I'm sharing the intimate thing now. So, but it just shows that there could be a cycle with that when you continue to do that sort of behavior. It could continue.
You got it. This the key. This is the rule. This is the rule. Once you get into a new relationship, you gotta get rid of everything else from the past.
Mm.
You gotta get rid of it. You gotta get rid of that. But like, yeah, that's the rule.
Do you go by that rule?
It's my rule. It's my rule. Of course I go by it. It's my rule.
You're just saying it's a rule, but I didn't know if there was something you do.
I don't know. It sounds to me like Alan's setting boundaries.
Me, my phone. They can, if they don't want to delete them out of their phone, they can do whatever they choose to do. But in my phone, I'm deleting when I go into a new situation. But they want to keep it.
What would you say is not necessarily worse, more intimate one? So the idea of like, okay, they may have or you may have photos of like maybe like some sexual nudes and all that stuff, and slapping butts and all that stuff, or it's ones where like you're lovey-dovey, hugging up and all that stuff. Should those be deleted? Like the ones where it's like intimate, where it's like, oh, this is our first date, and the moment that I realized that I was in love with this person, is that more kind of is that more or less valid than deleting a nude photo?
For me, I'm gonna tell you. For me, I'm deleting everything. From the why I want to look at those. If I'm in a new relationship and we build in and we what if we married? Why I got these pictures of my ex from 10 years ago in my phone and we was on the carnival? Why I got these? Like, I'm deleting everything. I'm going in clean, bro. That's me. What about you, Ice?
I like that.
Wild
positions right now.
I could see that if I really did, really was trying to give myself 100% to a woman, and that was something she asked of me, I could do it. It's not.
No, Ice. Don't even put that. If there's something she asked of me in there, what if she don't even ask you? Are you going to do it?
Well, this is the thing about me. If she didn't ask me, I probably wouldn't, but I probably wouldn't be looking at them either.
Right.
I'm going back every other day and looking at old pictures. So they'll probably just stay in my phone. At some point, she might cycle through my phone and find them, and it'll be an issue. And I wouldn't have any problem deleting them then, but I wouldn't have my own volition. Just go deleting. I wouldn't think of it.
I'm kind of with you on that. Like one of the first like romantic arguments I've ever been in was this situation where it's like there was no like looking through my phone or anything like that. I just didn't think anything of it, of like having a photo of an ex on my phone. I was like, oh yeah, it's there. Like it's like I have tons of photos on my phone. Like it wasn't even necessarily like an explicit one. And then like mentioning it to like a former dip, and then she had a problem with it. I was like, oh, I didn't even think that would be a thing. I didn't think that's something that I would have to do. But if it's something you care about that much, all right, sure, I guess it's So I'm kind of with you on that, where it's like it's not really in the forefront of your mind.
Right.
If someone brings it up, it's like, all right, like, okay, sure, why not?
Tell the girl I was so focused on you, I wasn't even thinking about the motherhood rats.
You're the main hood rat that I'm thinking of.
Right. You're the only hood rat for me, baby.
We gotta start bringing back chicken head. No one ever says chicken head anymore.
Yeah.
We haven't heard that term in like 10 years. We gotta bring it back.
Chicken head, Project Pat. It's a whole 3-6 episode. Yeah, man. But
with that, yeah, we're good on time. You guys want to get in some goals real quick? This is a goal. You boys doing a monthly challenge right now, and I think I may have mentioned it before. I was playing with the idea of it. Is to read an article per day. So like just generate different ideas, see what's going on. It doesn't necessarily have to be like news articles. Like it doesn't have to be reading about like NATO and all that stuff. But if that pops up, sure, why not? So the goal for this one is to complete the monthly challenge of reading an article per day. I'd like to share my last article insight, and also just give a shout out to the Postmaster General. This month marks the 60th anniversary of the creation of the zip code. The zip code was created on July 1st, 1963, and we're in the 60th anniversary of it. So shout out to zip codes.
What did we do prior to zip codes?
It was a whole thing where like mailing was a whole like disorganized arrangement where like they would send it to different post offices, and zip codes, would they have it assigned to each post office, for each county. So you're able to just send it directly to there, and then they're able to organize it from like the names and addresses. But before that, though, it was a whole mess. People hated it first. They were like this whole thing where it's like, you're making us remember these new numbers. We already have to remember so much. But then people eventually adjusted to it, and now we have zip codes.
Yeah, it's like the same thing when we got new. Remember, we had phone numbers were just 7 digits. Then we had to add the area codes now, all that. Yeah. That's a good goal. For me, I mean, I think my goal is just probably gonna be, until I accomplish it, it's gonna be the same every week. I don't know if you know, I'm working on a comedy album. I'm gonna put out.
Okay.
I'm gonna record in September. So yeah, I'm just like performing. I was on stage every day this week so far. So it's just me trying to flesh out. Huh?
You have a location yet? Have you gotten that far to figure it out?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I didn't say this yet. But okay, I'll say it. Why are you making that face, Kirk?
Oh, it's just breaking news.
Am I breaking the news right now? All right, I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna record the album September 2nd, Saturday at Soul Joel's.
Wow.
So headlining that day, we're gonna record it. Probably gonna do it in the Dome. I'm still contemplating if I want to do it in the Dome or inside. But yeah, I'm gonna do it then. Yeah. So my goal is to just keep working and keep punching up and tightening up these jokes, man. And I never realized how unfinished my jokes were until I started thinking about this, because it's like, okay, when's this joke going to end on the album? Like, when's this track over? So I've been thinking about more like ending jokes and like just, punchline at the end and big laugh. I mean, so it's a lot of work. So that's my goal, is to just keep, hitting it up and figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm excited. I have it marked on calendar, as everyone else does. That's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be there with bells on. It will be very disturbing for everybody.
I'll just start the recording.
Right. I bet.
Should I share a goal?
Yeah, of course.
Stop watching so much porn.
All right.
Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you this. So I'm talking to a friend, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm going to stop watching porn." And I was like, "You coward! What are you talking about? Those girls need you. What's the matter? You selfish."
They need you.
He was like, "Yeah, I feel like it's doing something different to my brain, man. I just want to see what it's like before that. It's almost like a cleanse for me." And I was like, "Okay, I can see what you're saying, And I was like, "I'm going to try it too." So I stopped for like a month. I didn't watch anything. If a little snippet came up on Twitter, I would just scroll past it. I didn't watch anything. But then what I noticed was my YouTube, like the home page, started getting a bunch of scantily clad women doing yoga and Pilates girls and chicks getting massages. Like my whole screen, I was like, "Oh, I'm just substituting." That's what I'm doing. It's like I put down cigarettes, but I got chewing tobacco now. It's chewing tobacco. So it really is, as much as I'm making fun of him, I was like, maybe there is something to this. If I couldn't just let it go like that, this is some reflection of it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to take back my YouTube homepage. The YouTube algorithm is keeping me on.
Take back the algorithm. You gotta start watching food videos.
It could be all this music videos and interviews. Now I'm like 4th row in. Now when I scroll down to the 4th row, the yoga girls start popping up again, and I'm like, "Come on, YouTube,
You gotta put your filter on a YouTube Kids. You gotta get Baby Shark videos while you're cleansing yourself."
It's what you do, Ice. You have 2 Gmail accounts. Okay. So you get on YouTube when you want to do your thing on your one account, then you log into your one account. Okay. So your algorithm will mess up your other account's algorithm. You know what I'm saying? I got kids.
Well, I need to do it organically. I need the type of fighting the porn away organically. Rap music video at a time.
Yeah. You can just watch every episode of Property Violence we've ever done. It's all on YouTube.
That's a better way around it, man. Yeah. There's this a porn-free show.
Right.
Although if we ever interviewed a porn star, that would be kind of cool. Get some insights on that.
Yeah, we saw Damien's interview.
Oh yeah, Damien's interview.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we have had porn stars on here. Never mind.
Oh my God.
Wow, boy.
Man. Well, we wish you luck on your ventures and all that stuff, and clearing your mind of all the juicy big breasts on screens and all that, and perhaps you see it in real life instead. Very good.
Much appreciated, man. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. Is there before you go, is there anything you want to plug? I know you've been rocking out with a few festivals and shows. Anywhere where the people could see you?
That's right. I just got picked up for the Finger Lakes Comedy Festival in Ithaca end of September.
Very good.
I actually got picked up for the Portland, Maine Comedy Festival, but I'm going to be in Tallahassee that time. I have some private engagements, so I had to turn them down, which was weird. Weirdest thing, send a letter saying I can't do this. It felt dirty. But
yeah. You know, you're doing your thing. I'm sorry, I'm too busy, man. Catch me on a later date.
That's right. That's right. Animated Brewing this Thursday. Show in Parkersburg. I'll be there.
Oh yeah.
That's this Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday coming up. Well, I don't know what the date is, but
the
20th, that is the 20th. Yes, sir. The 20th.
I know, because the Barbie movie's on the 19th. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing, moving around, man, trying to be like y'all, trying to be like my idols.
Man. We're glad to have one of our idols on here, man.
Yeah.
Pop extraordinaire, writer extraordinaire, comedy extraordinaire, a voice like no other around here, man. Ice, it's a pleasure. Thank you for taking time to speak with us. And for those listening, you already know what to do, but if you don't, you could like it, you could subscribe it, you could share it with your friends, you could do all that stuff, or you could just enjoy and watch it. That's also pretty cool.
We appreciate it. Whatever you do, we appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Thank you again, Ice.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
I'm good now.
Peace.